Welcome to our vodcast on Sugar Gel Cure for Baldness, Latest Research, a fascinating topic for people suffering from alopecia, especially hereditary baldness. My name is Jessica, and I'll be your host for this discussion. Joining us is Dr. Donald Abraham, an expert dermatologist, here to shed light on this latest research on hair loss treatment. Welcome, Dr. Abraham, and thank you for being part of today's show.
Thanks, Jessica. It's an honor. Excited to be here. Hair loss, a trivial cosmetic concern? Not quite. Today we're discussing how a simple sugar gel may actually revolutionize the treatment of baldness, potentially impacting millions of lives.
Wow, that's quite a claim. Can you tell us more about this sweet discovery?
Well, scientists have stumbled upon an unexpected breakthrough in hair loss treatment. It's a sugar gel containing deoxyribose, a type of sugar naturally found in our bodies. In studies with mice, this gel has shown results comparable to minoxidil, one of the most popular hair loss treatments on the market.
That's fascinating. So, how effective has it been in these initial studies?
The results are quite remarkable. Both the sugar gel and minoxidil achieved between 80 to 90% hair regrowth in the mice they tested. That's a significant amount of regrowth. These studies were conducted at the University of Sheffield and Comsats University in Pakistan.
Those are impressive numbers. But how exactly does this sugar gel work its magic on hair follicles?
Great question. While scientists are still trying to understand the exact mechanism, they've observed some interesting effects. For one, they noticed increased blood vessel growth near the treated areas. This improved blood supply could be nourishing the hair follicles and making them healthier. Additionally, the gel seems to have a wake-up call effect on dormant hair follicles, essentially telling them it's time to start growing hair again.
So it's like giving the hair follicles a nutrient boost and a gentle nudge. That's pretty cool. But I'm curious, how did researchers even stumble upon this discovery?
Well, that's where the accidental part of this discovery comes in. Scientists were actually studying wound healing when they noticed that mice treated with deoxyribose were growing back fur at an unusually fast rate. It's a perfect example of how scientific breakthroughs can come from unexpected places.
Talk about a happy accident. So, what makes this deoxyribose sugar so special?
Deoxyribose is actually a fundamental component of our DNA. When applied to the skin as a gel, it seems to boost the blood supply to hair follicles, encouraging growth. It might also be helping hair follicles produce more energy, making them stronger and more capable of growing hair. The researchers even observed that the hair follicles in treated mice extended deeper into the skin, indicating they were healthier and more active.
That's fascinating. It's like we're tapping into the body's own building blocks to stimulate hair growth. But I have to wonder, how does this compare to existing treatments?
Well, one potential advantage is that this sugar gel might have fewer side effects than some current treatments. Minoxidil and finasteride, for example, can sometimes cause side effects like scalp irritation, hormonal changes, or even erectile dysfunction in some cases. In contrast, the sugar gel, being a naturally occurring substance in our bodies, might be better tolerated.
Oh, those are some pretty serious side effects for the current treatments. Has the sugar gel shown any negative effects in the studies so far?
Surprisingly, no. In the mice studies, researchers didn't observe any inflammation or irritation. In fact, the treated mice showed denser, longer hairs without any unusual tissue damage around the treated areas. However, it's important to note that these are still early studies, and more research is needed to fully understand any potential side effects in humans.
That sounds promising. But I'm sure our listeners are wondering, when can we expect to see this treatment available for humans?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? While the results in mice are exciting, we're still in the early stages. Human trials are the next step, and those take time. However, researchers are optimistic. Dr. Sheila McNeil, a tissue engineering expert involved in the study, suggested that treating hair loss might be as simple as using this naturally occurring sugar to boost blood supply to the hair follicles.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as sugar could potentially revolutionize hair loss treatment. But I'm curious about the broader implications. Could this treatment work for different types of hair loss?
That's a great point to bring up. The studies so far have focused on male pattern baldness, which is the most common form of hair loss in men. However, researchers are hopeful that this treatment could have wider applications. They're particularly interested in its potential for helping people who have lost hair due to chemotherapy.
Wow, that could be life-changing for cancer patients. Hair loss can be such a difficult side effect of treatment. How might it help in those cases?
The researchers believe that by improving blood supply to the hair follicles, it could potentially stimulate hair growth after chemotherapy-induced hair loss. This is particularly important because hair loss can cause significant emotional distress for patients undergoing cancer treatment. The sugar gel's ability to promote blood vessel growth around the follicles could be key in helping patients regrow hair more quickly after chemotherapy.
That's a really powerful possibility. It's not just about vanity. Hair loss can have a real impact on people's mental health and quality of life. Speaking of which, do we know how many people are affected by hair loss?
The numbers are quite staggering. It's estimated that about 80 million Americans suffer from pattern baldness. And it's not just a male issue. Women can experience it too, especially after menopause. In fact, hair loss typically begins in the 20s and 30s, but the changes are often most noticeable in menopausal women.
Those are huge numbers. It really puts into perspective how many people could potentially benefit from a treatment like this. But I'm curious about the practical aspects. How would someone actually use this sugar gel?
Based on what we know so far, it seems like it would be relatively simple to use. The gel would likely need to be applied to the scalp once or twice daily. However, like most hair loss treatments, it would probably take some time to see results, possibly around 6 months of consistent use. In the mouse studies, they saw significant regrowth within about 3 weeks, but human trials may show different timelines.
That doesn't sound too complicated. And 6 months isn't too long to wait if it means regrowing your hair. But what about side effects? Even if it's a natural sugar, surely there must be some potential risks.
You're right to ask about that. While the sugar gel appears to be well tolerated, some people might experience mild skin irritation where the gel is applied. This could include redness, itching, or slight swelling. However, these effects are usually temporary. Of course, if they persist, it would be important to consult with a doctor. It's worth noting that in the mouse studies, researchers didn't observe any inflammation or irritation, which is a good sign.
That's good to know. It sounds like the potential benefits could outweigh the risks for many people. But I'm wondering, how does this discovery fit into the broader landscape of hair loss research?
That's an excellent question. This discovery is part of a wider trend in hair loss research where scientists are looking at new approaches to tackle the problem. Some are using cutting-edge technologies, while others, like the sugar gel, are looking to nature for answers. It's worth mentioning that hair loss is considered a badly under-researched area, according to the scientists involved in this study. So discoveries like this are particularly exciting.
It's fascinating to see how diverse the approaches are. Do you think this could lead to a breakthrough in how we treat hair loss in the future?
It certainly has the potential to. What's particularly exciting about this discovery is that it's using a substance that's already naturally present in our bodies. This could potentially lead to treatments that work more harmoniously with our natural biological processes. Moreover, if it proves to be as effective in humans as it was in mice, it could offer a treatment option that's potentially more affordable and accessible than some current treatments.
That's a really intriguing possibility. It's amazing to think that the answer to hair loss might have been inside us all along. But I have to ask, what's next for this research?
Well, the next big step is human trials. While the results in mice are promising, we need to see how this treatment performs in humans. These trials will help researchers understand if the treatment is safe and effective for people, and if so, how it compares to existing treatments. They'll be looking at factors like the rate of hair regrowth, the density and thickness of the new hair, and any potential side effects.
It sounds like we're on the cusp of a potential revolution in hair loss treatment. I'm sure many of our listeners will be eagerly awaiting the results of those human trials. Any final thoughts on this sweet discovery?
I think this story really highlights the unpredictable nature of scientific discovery. Who would have thought that studying wound healing would lead to a potential breakthrough in hair loss treatment? It just goes to show that in science, you never know where the next big discovery might come from. It's also a reminder of the importance of basic research. Studies that might seem unrelated to hair loss can end up having surprising applications.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder of why it's so important to support scientific research across all fields. You never know where that research might lead.
That's so true. Well, I think that wraps up our sweet exploration of this hair-raising discovery.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abraham, for joining us and sharing your knowledge on this critical topic.
Thanks, Jessica. It's my pleasure.
And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more insightful discussions. Take care, and we'll see you in the next episode.